My name is Lindy Day, touring female lead guitarist and guitar instructor. And today I'm going to explain why numbers sometimes appear in chords. We're going to use the D suspended 4 chord as an example today. So before we talk about the D chord, we have to talk about scales. And real quick, I'm going to throw a D scale up here. And here's the cool part. If I put numbers below the scale, this whole thing becomes a lot easier. So this is what we're looking at now. And if I build a normal D chord with no suspended 4s, nothing extra, this is how a normal D chord looks. We're going to take the 1, the 3, and the 5, and that's our D major chord. However, we have this suspended 4 part that we need to worry about. I'm going to explain what the suspended means at the end of this tutorial. Let's just talk about the 4 for a second. And it's pretty straightforward. You just look at the 4th note of this scale, and we're going to add it into the chord. And now we're going to spell the chord with a G note in it. So where's the G note on your guitar? And if you take a look, it's the 3rd fret of the E string. So when you play a D suspended 4 chord, you have to pop that note in there, which makes it a D suspended 4 chord. We're hitting the 4th degree of the scale. The suspended means something very specific, and what the suspended is talking about is it's asking you to suspend the 3rd degree of the scale and instead add the 4th degree of the scale. So all of these words and all of these numbers mean something very specific. If you remember taking math class, there were things like PEMDAS, and there was a certain order you had to do things in. And music theory is very much the same way. All of these words and numbers are asking you to spell the chord in a very specific way. So what's happening, the suspended is asking you to remove the 3rd and add the 4th. And on guitar, it's actually really cool. The 3rd is the 2nd fret of the E string. So what's happening is when you put your pinky down to make that D chord, you are removing the 3rd and you are adding the 4th. You're just doing it in one motion. When you hit that 3rd fret, you're covering the 2nd fret. D suspended 4. So what happens if we have a C add 9 chord? There is no 9 up here on this scale. And it's pretty straightforward. All we're going to do is we're going to repeat the scale and we're going to add another octave. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to erase the D scale for a second. Let's throw up the C scale and let's take a look at the notes and the numbers and how they line up. Here's a normal C scale. We're going to take the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th to build your normal C chord. There it is. But we're going to add a 9. So where's the 9? It's pretty straightforward. It's probably exactly what you think. We're just going to repeat the octave. So let's throw 2 octaves up here, and all of a sudden we can see the 9. And it's kind of straightforward. C add 9 is asking you to add the 9th. We're not removing any notes from the normal standard C chord. We're just adding a 9. Nothing's suspended, nothing is removed, nothing's inverted. Add a 9. The 9 on your guitar is the 3rd fret of the B string. So when you play your C chord, you definitely want to hit that note. And by the way, there's 2 ways to play the C add 9 chord. There's this way and there's that way. And they're both a C add 9 chord because if you look, the 3rd fret of the B string, or the D note, appears in both of these chords. So they're both a C add 9 chord. And that's why numbers appear in chords. It's asking you to spell the chord in a very specific way. My name is Lindy Day. I teach guitar. If you want to do online lessons during this pandemic, you can email me. My contact information is below. Have a good one. If you guys have any song requests, please leave a comment.